Okay, so here we're tasked with graphing this function, which looks scary, but it's nice that it's factored for us. When we graph a function, we're not going to really focus on accuracy. We're just going to focus on the end behavior and the intercepts. We don't need to make a table of values. So we're going to find the X intercepts and, of course, the Y intercept. Now remember, in order to find the intercepts for any equation, what we want to do is we want to find the opposite value being 0. So for example, with the x-intercepts, I want to make y 0 and solve for x. With the y-intercept, I want to make x 0 and solve for y. So let's find the y-intercept first, because sometimes that's typically easier. So we have this x squared minus 1, x squared minus 4. So what we do is we make the x value 0. So 0 squared is 0, so we have 0 minus 1. And 0 squared is 0 minus 4. So now we have y is equal to negative 1 times negative 4. This gives us a positive 4 value. So if y is 4, then the point is at 0, comma 4. Again, this is the y-intercept. So on the y-axis, x is 0. So it's the point 0, 4, which is right there. So we already have 1 point. Now we need to find the x-intercepts, which means we need to make y 0. Well, the nice thing with this, and why it's already factored, is we can see that when we have two factors multiplying to get 0, we could set them both equal to 0. So we get x squared minus 1 is equal to 0, and x squared minus 4 is equal to 0. These are difference of two squares. So we can factor them to x minus 1 and x plus 1 is equal to 0, and x minus 2 and x plus 2 is equal to 0. So this gives us a whole bunch of points. We're going to have 1 comma 0, negative 1 comma 0, we're going to have 2 comma 0, and we're going to have negative 2 comma 0. So these 4 points. So we have, again, 1 0, negative 1 0, 2 0, and negative 2 0. So now is probably the time where you look at this and you question what the heck is going on. Well, now is when we actually have to think about end behavior. So based off of the degree and the leading coefficient, we can figure out which way this graph is going to look on the ends. So we're going to look at the ends after this last x-intercept and after this last x-intercept. So with this isn't multiplied out. But if we were to multiply this out, we would FOIL, and we would see that we'd have an x squared times an x squared. That would give us an x to the 4th as the first term. That means that our degree is even. Also, because this is a 1x squared and a 1x squared, we would have a positive 1x to the 4th when we multiplied this all out. So that means that our degree, our leading coefficient is positive. So we find where the degree is even and the leading coefficient is positive. And just like a parabola, the end behavior is going to be the same. So as x goes to positive infinity or negative infinity, y is going to go in the same direction, either up or down. In this case, because the leading coefficient is positive, as x goes to positive infinity, so as x goes to the right, y goes up. So y goes to positive infinity. So here, as I move to the right, as I move more right, y is going to go up. Here, as x moves to the left, so as x goes to negative infinity, y again moves the same direction as the other side. Y is going to go up to positive infinity. So we're going to shoot up like that. That just doesn't look good. Let's make that look a little bit better. Okay, somewhat better. And now we just have to connect the dots. So here, we're going to draw this down, And because this this point here at 1 is not a factor squared, it means it's not just going to bounce up and go like this. So what's going to happen is it's just going to cut right through the x-axis, drop down and go up. And same thing over here. So while this is not perfect, especially with my shaky handwriting, and while these minimums could really go down like that, this is just the general shape and the general sketch that we're concerned about doing right now. So it looks like it's going to be a lot, but it's nothing more than we've done before. We've found these points before, sometimes very easily, and so now all we have to do is just plot the points on here and connect the dots. The really hard part is knowing this end behavior, which is only going to come with more time and more practice. So just make sure that you're practicing with it.